Hello, Greek and Roman history students. In this video, I will be taking you through the various aspects of the personal leadership portfolio and how to go about completing it. The personal leadership portfolio will give you the opportunity to explore a small number of ancient leaders and leadership styles in depth and to connect them to your own current and future leadership practices. It will also allow you to demonstrate a grasp of research and discipline-specific skills. This assessment is broken into 5 individual tasks. 3 small assignments designed to build some of the skills necessary to complete the final personal leadership portfolio, worth 2% of the final grade each. A brief pulling it all together assignment that uses the skills learned in the first 3 assignments to write a preliminary personal leadership portfolio, worth 4% of the final grade. And then the final personal leadership portfolio itself, worth 20% of the final grade. Assignment 1 will introduce you to ancient sources, which are textual or physical sources that come from antiquity. These sources are the basis for all that we know about the ancient world and are thus invaluable to any researcher in this field. The assignment simply has you engage with 2 of the most important ancient sources we have, Herodotus' histories and Thucydides' history of the Peloponnesian War, and answer a few brief questions to show you how to find and interact with such sources. The Perseus Digital Library is the best place to locate ancient sources. Assignment 2 is very much the same as Assignment 1. This time you will be examining a secondary source. Secondary sources are academic books or journal articles that examine and debate aspects of the ancient world using ancient sources and other secondary sources. This assignment will see you track down a particular journal article and then answer some questions. Like Assignment 1, this is to show you how to locate and interact with secondary sources. It's important to note here that websites and encyclopedias are not secondary sources. They are what we refer to as tertiary sources, and while they carry some value in providing some base knowledge on a topic, they are not peer-reviewed, and it is therefore unwise to rely on them in your personal leadership portfolio. The library website is the best place to begin locating secondary sources. One thing to note with Assignments 1 and 2. Some students have had trouble with the PDF form not saving their information. It's best to download the form to your computer first, fill in the answers, then save them. Be sure that your information was indeed saved because once the answers are posted, I cannot accept any corrections. Assignment 3 looks at citations, particularly within the context of the Chicago Manual of Style that is generally used in the classical studies discipline. The purpose is to understand how to properly create and format citations, both bibliographic and footnotes, so that you're ready to do so for the personal leadership portfolio. This assignment is multiple choice, where you will be asked to select the correct citation of a source after reviewing the 17th edition of the Chicago Manual of Style through the library website. Assignment 4, putting it all together, is designed to give you a low-risk opportunity to show your understanding of the lessons in Assignments 1 to 3. Completing this assignment can be effectively broken into 3 distinct steps. Step 1 is to select a leadership style studied to date that you feel strongly about. Step 2, research 1 ancient source and 1 secondary source related to this leadership style and the associated leader. And finally, Step 3, write a brief 250 to 300 word reflection that includes a brief description of the leadership style, an historical example of the ancient leader using the leadership style, that is the leader from the textbook, a description of how this leadership style helps inform your current and future leadership practices, and at least 1 footnote for each source you've used and a bibliography of all sources at the end of the assignment. A very good place to start when it comes to this assignment is the result of your Mind Garden assessment and what it suggests about your current leadership. The final personal leadership portfolio is an extension of Assignment 4. It will ask you to expand on some things and add others. Your final submission should include a discussion of 2 to 3 leadership styles, one of which must be the style that you discussed in Assignment 4, and your final submission should explain and describe each of them. Examples of the ancient leaders using these leadership styles, and a clear discussion of how this information is applicable to your life and or career, and how you plan to act on this moving forward. The basic requirements for the personal leadership portfolio are laid out here. The full details can be found on the assignment page. Most important is to make sure that your final submission includes at least the required number of sources, both ancient and secondary. The actual format of your final personal leadership portfolio can be flexible as long as it meets the requirements laid out here. If you have an idea and are unsure if it's appropriate, send me an email. Finally, how is this evaluated? The personal leadership portfolio will be assessed based on 4 categories. The first, organization, considers the overall structure of your submission, particularly whether it flows, is logical, and is easy to follow. The second, clarity of ideas, content, and research, is concerned with the sources you have selected, how they have been used, and how clearly the ideas are explained. The third, depth of concepts, relates to the appropriateness of your analysis of the leadership styles and ancient leaders, as well as the connections made to your current and future leadership practices. And fourth, grammar, spelling, and diction, assesses the actual writing presented in the paper. I hope that this clarifies how to go about completing the personal leadership portfolio. If you have any additional questions, you can send them by email or the Ask the Instructor discussion board. Best of luck.